nothing but faith. There's things far too great that I want to accomplish. I'm hoping 25 hours a day, but something good works out, and I'm just like, dang. Think everything's gonna be okay. Yeah, I'm like, dang. Think you might just know the way. I'm like, dang.
Welcome to Dang.
Dang! Oh, my name's Todd Bridges.
I'm Bettijo Bridges, and today's guest is Jennifer Stirling-Campbell, a former longtime resident of the deep, dark place known as chronic depression. She made it out, though, with a flashlight, a map, and now helps others find the exits. She battled depression and anger from childhood through her mid-20s until a miracle turned everything around. Now, over 15 years free from chronic depression, she hosts the Overcome Depression podcast and workbook series, and she's here to prove healing is possible and might just include QR codes and coloring pages.
It does.
Wow, it does. Wow, that's
can.
amazing.
Thanks for coming, Jennifer. We'll start at the beginning.
Yeah.
The beginning, when I was born,
Yes.
I came out kind of serious. I mean, to be, yeah, I was a very serious child. I didn't think like normal children did. I played I played and such, but there were times when I would be just thinking, very serious thoughts, and I would think about all the problems in the world, and I was very aware of how dark the world was and the evil in it. And I just noticed. And I would remember sitting in a chair more, often, and thinking about all the things that needed to be done to make sure that people behaved so they would stop hurting each other.
Wow.
I almost had this communist mindset.
Wow, that's carrying a lot.
Yeah, as a very young child.
So you have these memories, like, is this input from like your mom or your parents telling
Well,
you?
I remember that.
Okay.
My mom said my grandpa called me sober sides because I didn't smile. And they thought maybe something was wrong with me. And then finally, at the stage you're supposed to smile, I kind of did a little grimace like,
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, I think she's all right. But
Wow.
I was one of those who quite literally was born quite depressed. And I think nature and nurture, I think ancestral baggage, DNA can play a role in those kind of things. We say we can inherit. And so when I went to the doctor, when Prozac came out, it was kind of a novelty.
Yeah.
And my mom started taking it and found that it helped her. So she took me and got me put on it.
At what age?
I think I was 15.
Okay.
And I was on it for 10 years. And I did notice that it calmed me down. I stopped having quite as many anger episodes because I was very angry. And so it protected my family and those around me, where it would really come out. You would never know if you didn't live with me.
Yeah.
I was able to control it around other people, and people thought I was the nicest, sweetest person ever, and I just thought, if only you knew.
Yeah.
If only you knew.
She
And
was,
yeah. I mean, it was only a matter of time if you were close enough to me that you would see that side, and I was terrified of anyone seeing that side. I didn't want anyone to see that side. It was not
Right.
something I liked about myself. I hated myself. And what was interesting, though, is that I saw a counselor years later who identified that I didn't like myself, but I respected myself and I loved myself, which is kind of strange. She's like, that's
like
really
an interesting combination. Yeah.
But I think that is what prevented me from doing a lot of the self-harm, getting into drugs or things to cope, because I did have that love and respect, even though I didn't like myself.
Yeah.
And there was a part of me that always believed that miracles happen, just not for me.
Interesting. You know what I can't help but think of as you're telling us this, Jennifer? So Jennifer and I are both of the same faith, and we believe that we existed before we came here to this earth, and that when we come here, there's like a veil put over that we can't remember that preexistence. I wonder, as you talk about like being this little kid that kind of had this awareness, and I wonder if your veil was just more thin. Because I can imagine how frustrating I think it would be to be these spirits like shoved in this little baby body.
Okay, wait a minute. But
It would
let's
be
make
so
sure we're not
frustrating.
talking about reincarnation. You guys talking about that?
No, not reincarnation. It's this idea that our souls, our spirits, like the core of who we actually are, has always existed.
Well, yes.
That
yeah.
our body's like
And
a
that we-
container for it.
That we remember
Yeah.
to some extent.
I believe that we are here to finish something. And when we don't finish it, we die before that, you come back again
So
until
you do
finish it.
believe in reincarnation?
It's kind of like that, to where you have to, because you have to finish what your job is. God puts us here, and sometimes we have a habit of not being able to finish it because we're doing some other stuff that we shouldn't be doing. Because God's going to protect us no matter what. But then when we pass away, sometimes He brings us back to finish it. I believe I've been brought
I don't
back
believe
to
that. I
finish
think
what
you
I'm
get
supposed
one
to.
shot. What do you think?
I don't necessarily think it's one shot, but I think that how we view the telestial kingdom, that we're taught it's going to be like this world, just better, is another shot on a different planet. Not this
interesting.
one. That's just the way I see it. But I
That's one
also see
idea.
generations upon generations before us that had unresolved issues that they passed down and are now giving to us, and it's this opportunity.
Yeah.
I wasn't able to beat this. Can you do it?
Yeah.
And we are told that we can heal forwards and backwards, not just our kids, but our
Do
ancestors
you believe
as well.
that we're the, I'm not getting anything crazy, but do you believe that we're the only beings on this entire universe?
No.
I don't believe that either, yeah.
No.
Okay. All right,
No.
so I'm sorry, so go ahead.
Okay, a little bit of a tangent.
Yeah, no, we gotta know.
But it's because that mindset, I used to be very narrow.
Oh, yes.
And so expanding on what is rather than just as this is how it is
Yeah.
really did help open me up to the possibilities and open-mindedness to see other options that I had never considered before that were right in front of me the whole time, and God was just waiting for me to say, okay, I give up, heal me. And He's like, okay, she's ready, go. And things happen
Yeah.
very quickly.
Yeah.
All the people
So
I
tell us
needed.
about that. Yeah, tell us about the breakthrough moment. It was. It sounds like it was a choice.
And what
It
age
was a
was
choice.
it? What age was
I
it?
was about 25.
Okay.
And I was talking to my mom. There was a moment.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to my mom on the phone, and we had both taken Prozac for this extended period of time, about the same amount of time.
About a decade.
Yeah, about a decade. And she had just talked to her doctor and asked him, now that this drug's been out for a while, what are they finding out about it? What are the long-term side effects? And the doctor said, well, we're finding that people who take it long-term kind of stop caring altogether and kind of just turn into couch potatoes. And that hit me so hard when she told me that. I was like, oh God, I can't let this happen to me. I can't. Oh my gosh. If this is what my future is, there's gotta be another way, but I don't know what it is. Every time I try to get off of it, I turn into a monster. And that's when I just threw up my hands and was like, okay, I'm done. Everything I've ever tried has never worked. You made me, you fix me. I'm done. And it wasn't a please help me, God. It was, you're doing this.
Oh, yeah, I know that one.
Yeah, you're doing this. And I think some people listening might think, oh, how rude. But I think He was waiting, just like, oh my gosh, thank you.
Yeah.
To get out of
Yeah.
your own way and let me take over.
I truly believe that you can challenge God in those ways. When
Yeah.
you want something from Him, you say, okay, I can't do this anymore. You got to come in and take over. And He does. He does it all the time. That's what He does for me all the time. When I get fed up and I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I don't want, and He fixes everything. Because He always comes when I need that light. So that's good. He came for you. So what did He do for you?
The first thing that happened was I was at a wedding I didn't want to be at, and the TV was on. I never watched TV. And there was a guy on the television talking about omega-3s and how good they are for you. And he mentioned offhandedly, and he used Greenland, but I looked it up, and I think he must have meant another country because it's not actually accurate. But it didn't matter because it's what I needed to hear. So he said that Greenland has the least incidence of depression in the world,
Wow.
and they eat a lot of fish.
Yeah.
But it's so dark up there. So he was saying, I think that's why their incidence of depression is so low, is despite them not getting a lot of light, they have very high omega-3s in their diet. And my first thought was, well, that's not going to work for me. But it sounds healthy. I think I'll try it. So I started getting, because when I do something, I go full in.
Yeah, so-
That's my personality. I go full in. So 3 months down the road, I'm eating fish 3 days a week, overdosing on all of the seeds and nuts and avocados and all that. And I, quote unquote, forgot to go get my meds. And day 3 of not taking them, I was usually a mess.
This was your Prozac,
Yeah,
right?
the Prozac.
Okay.
And day 5, I realized, oh my gosh, I forgot to go get my drugs. And I was getting ready to go to the store and get them, and I stopped. And I thought, wait a minute. And I just kind of did an inventory of the past few days and was looking at myself and going, I don't think I need it anymore. Oh my gosh, it's working. Like, I was shocked because I never thought anything could help me. Accident, right? Like, and when I learned later, that it takes 3 months for this to start working, for you to get enough of those omega-3s in your system to start having that calming and that effect of the brain working better. And it was no accident.
Yeah, that you started the omegas like at exactly the right time to when you would run out.
And that I would forget.
And it would
I think
line
God
up.
made sure I forgot at the right
Yeah.
time, because I think if it had gone any longer, I may have fallen off the bandwagon, maybe not eating as good. Maybe a year goes by and I don't do it as well. I never would have known.
Yeah.
And
That you needed it to confirm that not only like could this be a way to get off of it, but that you could see and prove to yourself that it actually had worked.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
I definitely believe that, because I also believe, like in the Amazon forest, I think for every remedy problem that we have on this earth, there is something, a plant or something that we could take that could change it. I really believe that. And
not
that's
just in
why-
the Amazon, I think
Yeah.
they're all around
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
Yeah. That God didn't just care about the people in the Amazon.
No, there's
I
all around,
remember-
but there's a lot of stuff we don't know about.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the problem. We just haven't tried it.
I remember, I think I was still living in my old house. I think I only had 2 kids at the time. And I remember I was struggling with depression, and I was just no motivation. Like I couldn't make myself do anything. Like it was just, I really was struggling. And I felt like what I needed was more energy, right? Like I had young kids, and that's really what I wasn't attributing, I don't think, to depression or anything like that. I just felt like I need more energy. And I had gone to the health food store around here. It's called Sprouts. I think I'd gone there, and I had gone to the lady that works in the little vitamin section. I was just like, I just really need something to help me have more energy. And they had, she helped me find this, a very reasonably priced multivitamin that was supposed to help get you more energy. And I think that I had gone this route because I was raised, my mom was really into herbs and vitamins. And so it wasn't something like new to me. I knew that they supposedly helped, but I had never had an experience where I like really felt like they had helped, right? But I got it. I mean, I would try anything at that point. And I started taking it, and 3 days later, I remember there was these little picture frames that I had been wanting to hang up in our upstairs hall for like months. And I didn't think I could do it. I had been waiting for, my husband at the time, to do it, and hadn't gotten done. And I remember just thinking, well, I can hang those up. And going up there and, getting the hammer and like hanging them on the wall. And then all of a sudden, as I'm doing it, I stopped and was like, whoa, what is happening? Like I not only like, was I able to do it, but like I didn't have like a mental block that was stopping me.
There was
anymore.
nothing like, I don't want to, maybe.
Yeah,
You
like
just did it.
I did it, and I was like, I can do this. Like, and I realized, I started taking those vitamins like 3 days ago, and and it was the first time I actually could feel something within my body shift,
Likewise.
like, and work.
I was a little cynical about the natural stuff back then until this worked, and then I was like, oh wow, diet matters, and
Yes.
herbs can heal. I want to know more, and then I
Yeah.
learned everything.
Yeah,
I could.
so what's interesting again, sometimes I know when I'm depressed because everything that I like to do, I'm bored with.
You don't want to do it either.
Yeah, I do it and I'm like, just didn't fix anything.
Yeah, if
That's
Todd
when I
can't
know
even game.
Yeah, that's when I know, when I don't want a game, I know something's wrong.
Yeah, I can relate.
Literally,
Yeah.
It's like, but like, when I took that urine test and I was testing my urine to see it was bad, it said my liver was bad. So I got these pills for liver and it worked.
So he got
cleared
some
my
like
liver.
thing. Where did you find out about that?
I saw it online that you
Yeah.
test your urine, you can see
It's
what you
some
need.
kit that he
Yeah.
bought that was like you test your urine, it tells you what organs or
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
like
That's cool.
Because
it
everything's
was-
in
yeah.
your urine. It tells you what the problem is.
Yeah.
And I fixed everything, and then I did it again. It said I was a little bit more dehydrated, so I started drinking more water. I tested again and said everything was fine. So there you go.
Yeah,
so-
but you said you were depressed yesterday, so
But that had nothing to do with my liver or how I'm body feeling. That's mental. It's
maybe
up
you
here.
need omega-3s.
Well, but it went away. See, I knew it was going to go away because I get the poor me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm stuck, poor me.
And that was the next
Nobody
steps.
loves me.
That was definitely,
Yeah.
I had to start reprogramming.
Yes.
So I got past the point of needing the Prozac to function, but it didn't fix all of it.
Yeah.
Right. It
I
was
was
like a
I was
magical
still
cure.
programmed to think negatively, and I've been that way for years. So I literally had to, I chose to, I was led to,
Yeah.
life coach, natural healer, energy worker, who started me on that journey. She did Lifeline. Her name's Callie Afros.
Okay.
And she is my hero.
Wow, okay.
She did a combination of energy work and herbs and cleansing. And when she found me, I was kind of a mess still. And there was one time when I went in and we were working on desire. And she said, I've never seen anyone come in who's needing quite this much help with this as you are today.
Of desiring something?
I wanted like 0.001. You know, that's how much I wanted to move forward with life at that moment. But yeah, it's a process. And I think that food and just taking care of the body, you have to have that in place first.
Yeah.
Right.
And then you can start changing the brain
Yeah.
and the spirit and healing all of those things. There's layers and layers. And as I started learning about the physical things and the herbs and all that, then it was spiritual things and understanding how that works on a more acute level.
Yeah.
I mean, like quite literally angels versus demons.
Oh, yeah.
And if you learn to see it that way and you start to recognize what's going on, it's literally a battlefield and we're all in it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when you learn to really see it, I've always been in fighting with both. That's been the thing but for me, like as a child, I had and it wasn't a dream where I woke up and this demon said I was going to be his. And I kept fighting it. And it's so interesting how when you turn everything over to God, because I had, when you grow up black, you usually grow up very religious. That's something like you don't.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, you don't miss prayer. You don't miss Bible sessions. You don't miss any of that. You go to church for that. And the demon was trying to take me. And I remember calling my mom. My mom came in there finally, and we just started praying and doing all that. But I think for me, I have to give everything to God. And that keeps me grounded and keeps me from worrying about everything else. Because like you said something interesting. And I felt the same way. I'm from San Francisco originally. So I saw the world as this perfect world.
Yeah.
When you're from San Francisco, everybody likes each other, not much racism. Everybody, I'd never experienced racism. And then I moved to Southern California and everything changed. I realized that the world wasn't perfect. My world was perfect at the time. I had white friends, black friends, it didn't matter. We were all cared about each other and liked each other. And then moved to LA and it changed everything. So that was very hard for me. And that and a couple other things is what led me to drugs, but I realized that wasn't the way to change things.
Yeah.
So and that's why I have 32 years today because of that. So.
But you have the
definitely
story
helped
to tell. And
God helped me. Like with you, God did everything for me. I couldn't have done it myself. There's no way.
I'm guessing you wouldn't appreciate what you have now if you hadn't been through
the
depths.
Yes.
Because I look at my life now and how I was as a child, and if I was given everything I have now, I don't think I'd appreciate it.
Yeah.
If I hadn't been through what I've been through.
Yeah.
And to me, it's a huge
But you
gift.
also have to be proud of what you've been through. And that keeps me moving forward. Everything I've been through, it was for a reason, and I can use it to either help people. You can always use it for a better way, because that's why God allows us, I believe, to go through things, is to be able to help other people get through these things. You can take shorter cuts than the cuts that I had to take to get there.
Yeah,
Right.
that's my hope. When starting this podcast, that people won't have to suffer for the rest of their lives, or even as long as I did.
Yeah.
Like let's stop it now. You don't have to suffer forever, and the scriptures literally say you don't have to suffer if you'll repent. And I used to think, well, that must mean I've done something bad, and I've not done anything bad, so I don't understand. And that's not necessarily what it means. If you're not willing to forgive yourself, if you're not willing to turn to God, let go of what you're clenching onto, that is, I mean, to put it lightly, that's a sin in itself, because it's pride.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And you have to let go. You have to surrender. And until you do, you're going to keep suffering. And it's not because you're being punished. You're just not choosing into the light.
That's right.
And if all you know is like the darkness that I had was all I knew. I didn't even know what the light really felt like, even though I went to church and I said my prayers and all these things. I knew right from wrong. I knew kind of what felt good and felt not so good, but it was all pretty meh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that you say how it all started so much with a choice too, because I've begun probably in the last 5 years to just really see how important I think agency really is. I think God, it's one of his most important values. That's why he doesn't take over unless we truly relinquish that to him, because he respects our agency so much that he literally is waiting for us to choose that. And I had I called my sister this week because I was listening to a different podcast and it was talking about forgiveness. And something had struck me because she and I have both been trying to work on forgiving. And so that's why I'd called her as soon as I'd realized it. And there's been some things that have, some people and some things in my past that have been difficult to quote unquote forgive.
Yeah.
And I've kind of always felt like I was doing okay with it. I was giving myself like a very wide timeline. I'm like, I just want to be working towards this, but like, I don't even know what forgiveness, what does it even look like, you know? And so she was really actively though, like, I need to get this, like I have been feeling that I really need to work on this forgiveness and I really need to make it happen. And what had as I was listening to this podcast and it was talking about that, you know, because refusing to forgive someone is the greater sin, right? In like the scriptures, it will talk about that. And as I was hearing this discussion, as I was driving around listening, the refuse really stuck out to me. And I was going, okay, so there's going to be situations or people or things where forgiving somebody in the sense of like truly letting it go and I never think about it again, that might be really hard to do. Like that might not be possible for us to be able to truly let it all go and be that perfect. Like I think sometimes we think of the forgiveness like as a little kid where, you know, so-and-so hit me, but I forgive them. And then it like, we all happy and we move on and it's over. Like there's definitely messy things that come into life that are difficult to forgive, that it doesn't ever become perfect like that.
Yeah, but I think...
But hold on, let me finish. So what I realized when that refuse like stuck out with like bright lights in my mind was, this is about it comes down to a choice and agency thing. It's that I'm not refusing. I'm not sitting here going, I refuse to forgive that person. I'm trying. I want to forgive them. And even though it's difficult and I am not perfectly, like it hasn't left me perfectly, that's where the atonement, that's where Christ steps in and can fill the gap. And that my responsibility is to just get past the refuse. I don't refuse to forgive them.
So that you can actually do it.
Yes.
Because the completion is kind of important. I found even if my intentions are good and I'm trying, it's still hurting me.
Well, the problem that we've struggled with is that if the person isn't stopping, like
that's hard.
Like it's a
Yeah,
like
but
it's the
that's-
repeating.
I've experienced that too.
Yeah.
It's
I
hard.
understand what you're saying, but the true gift of forgiveness is actually, you don't have to forget, but you have to let go of the feelings. And most of the reason you can't let go of those feelings is because you're harboring your own feelings inside of yourself. So you're hurting, that person's not taking a second chance on it.
No,
So you have
I'm
to
not.
learn-
I'm not arguing.
I
I'm
know,
not
but I'm
arguing
saying-
anything. Like it was a breakthrough for me because as a perfectionist and a recovering perfectionist, it was like this agony to be like, okay, I can't get to that point, and it's like I get to that point, and then it would be like pulled back by another thing that's happening, and it just felt so good to realize that the problem is if you would refuse. And I was able to sit here and be like, okay, I'm not refusing. I want this to happen, and I am trying to make this happen. And so that was enough to let go of that.
But my question is, are you really turning it over to God?
Yes.
If you can't forgive, you're not really turning it over to God. You're keeping it in yourself.
That's what I'm saying is your definition of can't forgive is too limiting.
I don't think it is.
I think it is. And
Because
I
don't forget what the person has done, but I forgive. Like for instance,
Did you not hear a word of what I just
Here's
said?
something that I have done recently because I've had a series of unfortunate events where people were just awful. People I'd never met, but just mean. And I was having a hard time letting those go because it hurt. It hurt my feelings and it hurt my confidence a little bit, made me feel stupid. And I finally, this was actually, no joke, last night, and I've done this before, but I was like, okay, remember, this actually works. So I went back to the incident in my mind, and I redid it a few times, where I handled it differently, and I gave them the opportunity to do something different and to make it a better situation, even though that's not what actually happened. In a spiritual sense, I'm saying, hey, do you want to redo? Like, let's try to make this better. And then in the end, we ended up giving each other a hug and saying, I'm sorry for offending you. I'm sorry for offending you. Whatever that kind of a deal was. I won't go into details about it, but then I was finally able to go to sleep. And I was able to let that go.
So handling it all within your own mind and just doing that.
And saying, this is a human being.
Yeah.
And
He's not
who
perfect,
knows
definitely.
what made them that way. But let me see if I can respond differently and give them some grace so that it opens up that space for them to do something different.
Yeah, I think the toughest thing for me was to let go was the guy who molested me.
Yeah.
I was able to let that go. I won't forget it, but I let it go. Where it doesn't, I'm not going to allow him to hold me emotionally hostage anymore.
Right.
That's the way you have to forgive people. You cannot you have to also look at the good things those people have done for you. Even though he's done some horrible thing to you, he's done some good things also. They don't do bad things the whole time. So you find the good things, you latch onto those, you let go of the bad things. It goes, well, God will take care of him. And they will. It always comes back to you. You can fight all you want, but, and it's like I tell people, like I have a bunch of friends I game with who don't even believe in God. And I'm like, and they're always talking about how depressed they are. I'm like, because you don't believe in God. And you have no one to turn to. That's what I tell them. I said, you have no one to turn to. I said, you got to start believing. I said, you feel this way, but you just can't get out of it because you can't turn anywhere. I've learned that for me, whenever I'm going through something, if I can turn to God and say, all right, God, I can't do this anymore. Please take it away. He finds a way to take it away, even without my knowledge. He'll figure a way to distract me from thinking about that and take me to somewhere else. And that's why I was able to forgive something. I mean, something like that is heinous.
It's heinous.
That happens to a child, but I was able to let that go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was part of my childhood experience as well.
Yeah.
So that added to.
Yeah. What you were already...
Not so fun.
No.
And likewise, I've had to look at that and realize that they probably, if I confronted them today, would they even remember? Like
that is
some
another
people
thing too. Yeah.
are so possessed.
Yes.
They don't even know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And I don't know, so I can't judge. I can only do what I can do and take it as I'm grateful you taught me this so I can empathize with other people, and that's kind of the end.
And you have to know if someone is sick like that, then obviously something like that happened to them.
Well, and what Jennifer did, you might have missed it. She talked about how they're so possessed, and this is one of the reasons I love talking to Jennifer, is because so few people actually deal with and speak about the realities, like we were talking about at the beginning about a war between angels and demons.
I can
and
say I
possessions.
have felt that.
Yeah.
I think when I was depressed, I was dealing with that.
Oh yeah.
So
haven't you ever seen a
it's
murder?
a spirit of depression.
Oh yeah. Haven't you ever seen a murderer say, "I don't remember what happened"?
Yeah.
He was possessed when he did that, but still, it's his fault. But it still was possessed.
Yeah, you're still in charge of your own choices.
Yes.
This is your body.
Yes.
You're the steward of it.
Yep.
But it does make it harder sometimes
it
when
does.
when you can't remember what you did, for
Yes.
example.
Yeah.
So,
Right. Well, what do you think opens you up to possession and things like that?
It can be so many things. I mean, it can be abuse at the hand of someone else.
Mm-hmm.
It can be a choice that you made. It could have even been an innocent choice at the time as a child. You didn't know. I do think there's grace and salvation for anyone and everyone, and God is not unaware that these things happen, and He's taking care of all of these people, and there's a reason that we're here making choices. And the bad choices I make that affect other people, I mean, I hate to say it that way because it's like, oh yeah, I've hurt people, but it gives them the opportunity to, one, forgive me and overcome it. If there was nobody sinning, nobody doing anything wrong, it'd be pretty easy down here. We wouldn't learn much.
That's right.
Yeah.
And again, if you get through life and you don't quite get it, I do believe there are many other opportunities that you can.
Yeah.
So how did you break free of some of the possessions you had? Was the coach that you were working with as you were coming, was it through that?
It was some of it. Later on, I had a friend call me kind of out of the blue. And this happened to me more than once. I tell you, God sent me an army.
Oh, yeah.
He's so good to me. But it was actually a past boyfriend's sister. She just called me and I think you need help.
Wow. That was definitely
I'll
God.
take some help. And this was in between marriages. I was kind of struggling and trying to find my way. And she started telling me all the things she could see. And I was like, okay. And I felt inspired to answer all her calls and talk to her as long as she was willing to talk to me. And we actually worked with each other. I could see things she wasn't seeing and vice versa.
Yeah.
So she would ask me questions do you see this? Do you see that? I mean, we would work on each other and ask God to help us to see what was going on so we could ask it in the name of Jesus Christ to leave. And several things, but
Because that's how you get rid of something.
yeah, that's one way. I think God gives everybody different gifts, and He's given us each other so that I can do this, but you can do that, and we'll find each other, and we'll help each other. So there were quite a few things, attachments, and people that I was still connected to, or they were following me around. And years prior, I had another friend who'd reached out of the blue. Hey, God said you need help. Again, so I was getting used to this. And that was the first time when it took her a while to figure out what is going on with you, because this was before I really started overcoming depression, and she thought she was asking, Lord, is this her fault? And she was getting, no, it's really not. And so she was looking closer, in a spiritual sense, and saw that there was this ancestor that had been with me probably since I was a little kid that was hanging on with a fist, and he was angry. And he had some really massive unresolved issues. And when she finally told me this and I started recognizing it, I was like, oh my gosh. I started being able to differentiate me from him, because something would irritate me, and that was me. I'm feeling irritated. And then there would be this right behind it, this massive of just energy and rage. That was him.
The great part about it, you're willing to listen. That's the great part. See, that's the problem that a lot of us have. We don't listen.
Well, I think we're trained to see so much, like, not to go there. Do you know what I mean? Like, it feels like taboo. It feels like that's like wacko. Like, what are you talking about? And I don't know how that's fostered within it, but it does feel like an area of, like, where people would be like, oh, that's crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I get that sometimes. And people are sometimes a little, it's a little much. But
where do you think that comes from? Like, that idea of, like...
Well, I think in our church we're taught kind of don't focus on the dark, don't talk about that. But if you don't know your enemy and you're not taught to identify it in a more real way, I think it was too superficial for me to do anything about it.
Yeah.
I didn't understand
how
to connect to God, how to
outside
ask
of the church, it's a little
more
bit of a weird...
specific.
Yeah, but there is a war between good and evil.
I absolutely
and they're here fighting.
agree with that. And you talk about seeing... I don't feel like I've ever seen...
Oh, I've seen it.
A demon. Like, you talk about,
I've seen it several times.
And I believe that it's there. I feel it, I think.
I feel it
but
more.
I haven't seen
I don't
it.
see
But that could be a thing where it's on your back and you don't see it. You see what I mean? The thing about seeing it, I'm able, like, the God has given me the gift of discernment. I know I can recognize people right away, and my brother can vouch for this. I tell him all the time, like, I'll go, that guy's not a good guy, and you're gonna see, and he's like, and then he looks and then we find out later it's not a good person. Yeah. I have that opportunity. So when I get that, sometimes when I don't listen to that part of me, I end up in a really bad situation always. Because God gives me the gift to be able to see these kind of things.
Yeah.
Well, but when people are depressed, that's just how it is all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's hard to discern.
Yeah.
When that's all you know, that's all you feel, and it's hard. You see through this filter of the world is a horrible place, but it's almost like I had this light inside of me that was trying to push out, but there was something else blocking me, and I had to work through that. And at first, I was really mad at this guy.
Yeah.
You know, like, how dare you? Do you realize what the last 25 years, 30 years have been like for me? You know, and because of you, and it wasn't just because of him, but I was like, you gotta go. Oh, yeah. And family members don't like to go very easy. Like, they're there for a reason. Like, you gotta heal, and then sometimes they'll go. Sometimes they're really sticky. Like, they don't want to go. So that took quite a bit of effort. It's kind of scary because it was my first encounter with that kind of thing, and the first time I was like, oh wow, this is how it is. I thought I was protected, you know, more than this, because I got baptized and I go to the temple, and but it's not going to heal everything that happened before that. Like, you've got to still work through these things. It's not like it's just going to go away. It's part of that getting stronger, learning.
Do you remember when you finally broke free of that?
Yes. It was, and it took actually a group effort. We had several people praying with me, and the next morning I woke up and it was gone. But what I knew was I have to maintain this state of mind.
Or you can come back, right?
Or they come back.
Oh, that's right. And that's the thing people have to know. Definitely, it can come back.
And maybe not that one, but another one.
Yeah. What do you do?
It.
What do you do to keep it away?
I guard my thoughts. I go to life coaching. As soon as I feel like I'm suffering, like I'm not getting this on my own, I'll ask the Lord, who do I need to see? Where do I need to go?
Because negativity can bring it back, bring it back to your life.
My health. I mean, I would never go back. If I went back to all the things I did before, of course I would fall back into what I was, but I don't want to. And I think that's what happens as you start to heal. People think, I would never want to do that. Oh, that's too much work. But once you're there, you're like, this is so much easier.
Oh, yeah.
I love eating this way. I love thinking this way. I love living this way. And it's easy. And I feel like I've overcome depression on so many levels. Every time I hit a new peak, or like it's not like it's great all the time.
Right.
Ups and downs like
Yeah,
anybody
of
else.
course.
But I'll hit a point where I'm like, get to a breakthrough. And I'm going, oh my goodness, this is the best I've ever felt. And a year or two will go by, and then I'll get another big breakthrough. And wow, I didn't know it was possible to feel this good and to be this happy. And I've been told by several people that I enjoy life more than most. And I would never have thought that was possible.
Yeah.
Let me. What do you think about? Okay, what do you think about overworking? What do you think about that?
Bad idea. You have to tune in.
What does it do for you? You think?
I tend to verge onto that tendency. I can wear myself out but it's also, I do astrology as well, which also Christians are like, what? But it's Christian astrology. The Jewish, they used it, and the wise men used it. If you look at it from a Christian Christ perspective, you can see God all over it. It's not about fortune telling. It's about help me understand and give me inspiration to help. If I get the answer, go look at your natal chart, Jennifer. Then that's what I'll do. And then he'll give me the answer through that.
So I think it's interesting, astrology. Like, I know a lot of people will shy away from it, but I do some consulting for my real job, my day job in manufacturing, and like as a designer. And they have, like, just with that background, it makes sense to me that there's different models and different types and things that it's like that there is this core that we could access to understand, well, how are we made? And how, like, you know, on Mondays, people are made this way. On Tuesdays, we make this. On Wednesdays, we make, like, it makes sense that in that divine design and creation that there could be these similarities.
It's just
these
clues.
Things. Yes.
It's not this is how it is.
Exactly.
They're just clues. And
But I
sometimes
think,
that's what I'm led to Father, I'm struggling. Go look at your chart. I'll guide you to what you're missing. And sometimes that's as simple as that, or looking for my kids. Like, I don't know what to do for my child, and I'm feeling blocked, and I'll look at their chart or their human design. But when referring to that, I know that my human design is a manifesting generator, and we can do a lot of work.
Yeah.
And go, but
So
not
tell
everyone
us-
can. But there's still a limit.
Yes.
And I have to honor that limit. And I think it ultimately comes down to tuning into God and saying, what do I need to do today?
Yeah.
And tell me when to stop, and I'll stop.
One of the things I've learned that wearing myself out is not a good thing.
No.
That's when I'm capable of being attacked more by the enemy.
Oh, 100%.
When I wear myself down.
Yeah. When I'm tired,
Yeah.
I start to feel depressed.
Yeah.
It's not good. And same with my husband. He'll say the same thing. When he's tired, temptation is at a high.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't control my temper as
And that's
well.
when
I'm
you're
not
the
as patient
weakest.
with my kids.
Well, and that's what you talked about when we were back to our discussion about the omega-3s at the beginning, is that foundational stuff, the physical stuff, right? Your sleep, your nutrition.
Yep.
You have to take care of that physical stuff. It's the foundation. So
This is what we have to work with right now.
yeah.
And taking
physical
care
realm.
of ourselves is very,
Right.
it's very, very important. Emotionally and spiritually, I truly believe that.
Yeah.
What do you think is one of the biggest myths about depression that you wish would just get drop kicked, that we just didn't?
that you're just going to be this way for the rest of your life. This is your chemical makeup.
Yeah.
Here's a drug and take it every day and you'll be fine. And I mean, maybe therapy. Therapy is catching up. I feel like they're getting better, but it can be a very slow way to heal. I think it's really good to get that validation and all of that, but there are so many things out there, and some of them you got to be careful. They're not all great. I would definitely steer away from ketamine or the psychedelics.
Oh, yeah, that's crazy.
I know it's people are raving about it. I think it's
yeah.
really bad news. But some of the faith-filled energy healers who have gifts, who can see what you can't and help you to connect to God, like that's where my bread and butter was. That's who I was led to.
So do you think some medications can help temporarily
Oh,
to
for
get you to the
sure.
spot you're supposed to get to, right?
And I think, though, that it's important. Most doctors don't do this. If you're going to consider a medication, you need to get a brain scan because it's available. Most people don't know. And I'm trying to remember what the brain scan machine is called. It starts with an S, but Dr. Amen talks about it a lot. And if you get the brain scanned, you can see what parts of the brain are active and not. And you can take two people with the same symptoms, and they'll have opposite problems with the brain. And so if you just throwing drugs at them,
Yeah.
you could really mess them up. Whereas if you have a brain scan, you can say, this is what's going on. This is the drug that will fix this problem. And then you can start working on the brain to heal it so that you can then get off of the drug.
Yeah.
Because you can rehabilitate a lot of these brains.
I love that approach. Like
Yeah.
that
It's
sounds-
expensive, and your insurance will not pay for it. But
Yeah.
I would highly recommend don't just go to a doctor and start throwing drugs at your body.
Yeah, it's interesting because for me, I remember, I was having problems with my testosterone. I knew something was wrong because I was like, why am I so tired all day? I don't want to do anything. And then come to find out that it had dropped all the way down to like 76.
It was
And
really
so
low.
I don't know what killed it. It was like I had so many surgeries. I've
Yeah.
had my shoulder replaced, and like if you look, I have a crap load of stars all over the place,
Oh.
everywhere. But I think a lot of those surgeries took everything down to the bottom level. But now, like I feel better now because I take shots that bring it back up. And I think for me, it's finding a way to always, for my path, is remembering things will change as long as I stay in a little, because I try to be more positive, but it's still tough sometimes. But if you stay positive and stay in the direction, God will always show me the way out.
Yeah.
And that's what I have to always remember.
I think that's maybe another challenge is people are, and I'm not trying to refute what you're saying, but the word positive, a lot of people say, well, you just need to be positive.
That's
And I
different,
think the better way to approach it, being a depressed person takes so much effort to be positive. It's
Yeah.
like not even worth it. It's so hard. You can do it for a little while and then it's just, I'm exhausted. But being real, like stop lying to yourself about how bad the world is, but just look at it as it is and get curious. And then ask God about it. What can I do with this? What is this really saying? And what lies am I believing right now about this thing that are not true? Help me to see the truth of it. And to just look at it from an observer standpoint rather
Yeah.
than a judge of
Yeah,
you
I-
saying it must be this, making assumptions and so forth. And just being an observer, you don't necessarily have to make things positive, but you can find a silver lining.
And realizing you
Yeah.
can't change it, right?
Well,
Yeah,
and I
there's-
like that what you're talking about of like setting a more like realistic expectation. It's like if I'm feeling really depressed, getting positive is such a switch.
It feels like a
that-
lie.
Yeah, it just feels like that's not possible, and our brains are just going to reject that, right?
Yeah.
But like saying, okay, let's get real. Like let's get to like. I love that. I think that makes a lot of sense to this idea that biting it off into something that's a little bit more manageable.
Yeah.
Like, what can I actually achieve here?
Yeah, but
right?
if you're an optimist and you can see there's nothing wrong with making that a practice. Sometimes 10 minutes a day is what someone with depression can handle.
right.
Of just 10 minutes a day, and you can do that in the form. I heard this from someone else, but of giving away 10 Academy Awards for the day. So sunset, wow, you get an Academy Award for the most beautiful sunset of the day.
That makes sense.
We
though.
have
It makes a lot
such
of
good
sense.
sunsets here
Yeah.
in Phoenix.
Yeah.
I have to
actually.
admit we do. I have to
Yeah.
admit that.
And I've even used the example of a fly that you can't catch, and instead of getting frustrated about it, you go, you were the fastest fly I've ever seen. You get an Academy Award for being the fastest
I
fly.
love that.
Yeah,
I
trust me,
love
we're
that.
dealing with flies right now.
So, what is one weird but surprisingly helpful thing that you recommend for healing?
I talked about the one already, kind of going back in time and doing redos. It can be for anything. You
Where
can reprogram.
like that, where you replayed it, where you,
You
replay
replay
out,
it.
like you almost replay the situation in your mind.
But you practice doing it different, because most of us go back and we replay the same horrific event over and over
Yeah.
again.
Yes.
And if you can discipline yourself to consciously go back, like let's just say you got hit by a car, or like
Yeah.
you had a really bad car accident. You can go back and intentionally watch maybe someone you trust in the other car. Instead of hitting you, they just drive up alongside you. Same event, but it ends much better.
Yeah.
And you just do this redo where you can start to take that neural pathway that's been programmed to be traumatized and say, no, I'm safe. Look, see, I'm safe. And you can do that with anything. And it was inspiration I got. I'm sure other people have done it too, but it worked very well for me. It's something I use regularly with something I did that I felt was stupid, or something someone else did that hurt my feelings, or something from my past that I haven't gotten over.
Yeah.
Let's try that again. Or let's see if I can make that into a positive experience. It could be a family reunion event that went really poorly,
Yeah.
and then making space for those family members in your mind to do something different and treat you better, or whatever it was. And then you're creating this perfect, it's not that you forget, but even
Yeah.
if you did, does it matter? If you can create this beautiful life that maybe
Right.
you didn't have,
Yeah.
but that you wanted.
No, I love that. So tell us more. Okay, so you have your Overcome Depression podcast, but tell us more about the workbook.
The workbook goes hand in hand with the podcast. I considered just doing a program and then charging people for it, but I'm like, nobody knows who I am. I don't know who's going to buy this program, and I don't have any money to promote it. And I felt inspired, like, just make a podcast. I'm like, really, a podcast? But I've developed it over the last, I want to say, 10 years. There's like 200 some odd topics that I've organized into groups. And eventually, I want to produce about 20 workbooks to go along with these different creation series is what it is.
Okay.
So it's like create this, create this mindset, and it's all kind of similar. Create a new home, create a new way of thinking. And the first one's just introduction, decide that you're going to overcome depression. And that's the one that I've released already. And it takes you through each podcast and summarizes the content in a way that's easily digestible. You can make the goals that you want to make. Don't take on anything you don't feel like resonates with you. I talk a lot about intuition. There's not one way for everybody. And I think a lot of programs, it's kind of like this pathway that's kind of codified. And I want people to start considering what they need and what they don't.
Like, it's almost like a muscle that you need to develop, that connection to God and allowing him to guide the journey. Like, you, Jennifer, you're not necessarily the guide. You're just kind of the facilitator to get you to be guided
consider
by
this,
the Lord, right? As he guides you. I like that.
And there's lots of extra materials. There's coloring page in there in the first one that
okay.
helps you process. A friend of mine with a beautiful gift created. She helps people find dead people. She also, like with detectives, she's very good at seeing things. She's also really good at creating art that people can color that will help them process through certain things. And so I asked her if she would create this for this workbook, and she created a whole book full of artwork that helps people process through depression. That's in addition to the workbook. Awesome. And she has it on her website, but there's QR codes in the book to all of these different things. And I'm like, I don't need your money. I just want you to heal. So go see this person, go try this, go try that. I don't have all the answers. If you want some mentorship with me, I do sessions. But I really just want people to find who and what they need, because it's not going to be the same for every person.
Right. Well, and now that you know the difference, right? You say you started out in the dark and you weren't quite sure that there was any difference.
I didn't trust my intuition. No way.
Yes.
Yeah.
And now that you know the difference, you want more people to know, right? Come on over here where it's light.
Well,
I
as
love
long as
this.
her friend doesn't say, I see dead people. She said that, I'm leaving.
That
Good luck with that one, I gotta go.
That movie, you know what? It still feels so new to me, even though it's so
That movie
old.
was the most amazing movie because...
Have you seen Sixth Sense?
Long time ago.
Yeah, because you thought that...
it was really
you really
old,
thought
right?
that he
But
was
it's-
alive and no one was talking
I
to
know,
him.
right?
Yeah,
I was surprised.
yes.
I was totally
So was I. I was
shocked.
like sitting there, and when I saw the ring roll away, I was like, he's dead! and you couldn't tell because only Haley Joel Osment's character could see him and talk to him, so you thought that people were just ignoring him. Thought his wife was just done with him and ignoring him, because, everybody knows what, when your wife's ignoring you.
Yeah.
So you thought that everybody was just ignoring this poor guy.
That was such a good movie, but
It
I
was.
was terrified for months after that.
Right.
I
That
could
movie's
not
not
get
even
up and go to the
scary.
bathroom at night alone.
And gratefully,
Yes, the lady with the knives in her. With the cabinets that would open the cabinets, that lady she walks by him when he's peeing in the middle of the night. And so every night I would get up and try to go to the bathroom, and I would be like, I'm not going to see that lady. I'm not going to see that
Oh
lady.
my
I could not
gosh.
deal with it.
yeah. And luckily I don't see those kind of things
See, I'm in
very
show
often.
business, and I'm always telling her, remember, there's someone back there going, look more afraid. Doesn't look good enough. Cut. Let's do this again. So it's not real.
Yeah.
It's only when you see real things that make me go, okay, that could be serious. But.
Well, and the only thing that concerns me with regards to that side is fear itself. When I find myself afraid, I know I'm opening myself up.
Right.
That
that's
is
one
true.
of those-
And so I have to, that's the moment that I'm like, okay, pray, because
Like,
I
that's
need
an
fortifications.
access point.
I need
Right.
angels. I need, closure, protect me. I need shields and armor. So when I'm afraid, I just have to take action.
Yeah, and I don't think we regard fear as dangerous as it really is.
Well, yeah, I think it lets things in.
Well, and what is
things in.
depression?
Yeah.
It's belief in lies and things we're afraid of, and anxiety. It's
Yeah.
all around fear. And there's someone who wants to keep us there very badly because he knows what we can do and what we're capable of and the damage we could do if we figured out who we were.
Yeah.
And what I want to do is just be like, hello, you're so amazing.
Everyone,
Yeah, every
please
single
know.
one of you. I've never seen or met a person who didn't have an amazing purpose.
Yeah, I believe that. I believe that the enemy, the devil, his whole idea is to keep you afraid,
Yeah.
you from moving forward. The more he keeps you afraid, the more he keeps you in that little spot where he's got you.
Yeah.
And the more you start believing and trusting God, you get stronger. You're not as afraid.
Yeah.
That's why they say in the scriptures, it's one of the most like repeated phrases is do not fear.
That's right.
Yeah.
And how many? Yeah, God says it all the time.
And do not judge.
Yeah,
Because
that's
when we
right.
make judgments, we start to get scared.
That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
So for someone who's deep in it, what's the very first thing they can do to start healing today?
Just try to start believing. I mean, just realize that you believe in so much crap. I'm not even going to put it lightly. You believe in so many lies right now. You can't see clearly. You can't. You probably need help beyond maybe your therapist. But therapists are good too. But you've got to start just being open-minded to the fact that there's probably, not just probably, there are people, angels, all of it available to help you as soon as you are willing to let go and say, okay, I'm done. Help me. I'm done trying.
Yeah.
You're gonna you take over and to mean it. It can't just be a kind of half. I'll try, or I'd like to. Not good enough.
You have to fully give it.
Yeah.
Like if you think about it as handing off something to somebody to carry for you, you can't just like sit there and like hold on to
Yeah,
it.
it's
still.
got to be 100%.
Well, and
Like you literally have to like hand them the box.
You
and
have
let
to be
go.
okay also with the results. The problem
Yeah.
is people want to carry it, but they let it go, and then when the results happen, they're pissed. But it's like, hey, that's what God chose.
Yeah,
to do.
Yeah,
the
that-
results
you
can
gotta
be
be
a
okay
little
with
messy, but don't be afraid of it.
Exactly.
Like, I am so happy right now. Was
Yeah.
that journey completely great? I mean, I had some divorces, some, financial, it was hard. And I had to learn some things about myself I didn't want to see.
Yeah.
It's like, ooh, ouch. But when you're on the other side, as you start to look at it objectively, you don't hate yourself for it. You just
Yeah.
you look at it and go, oh, okay, I need to work on that.
Yeah.
And I can honestly say I live a life of joy, and I would never go back. I would 100% do it all again. And if you could see the beginning to the end, you would start right now. And I understand that any effort is good. If you're not ready, because a lot of people aren't ready to make that jump, any movement in the right direction is a good direction. And that's how the workbook also works, is just open it up. Just do some of the work.
Where can people find the workbook?
It's on my website, overcomedepressionpodcast.com.
Okay, you guys heard that?
Yep. It's on Barnes
it
&
out.
Noble and Amazon. Barnes & Noble, to be honest, it's a prettier book, so get it on Barnes & Noble. They do a better job.
All right.
Well, it's Todd Flicks time, and Jennifer, this is where Todd shares the show he's been binging on lately.
Shows that I've been watching. Today we're talking about Blindspot. It used to be an NBC show, but now it's on Netflix, where you can just stream all the episodes.
And we have seriously been binging
Yes.
it, like several episodes a day.
But I've already watched it a long time ago, so I forgot a lot what's happening in it.
Tell us the premise. Okay, how does it
The
begin?
premise is about a girl who
So she's played by...
she's played by Jamie Alexander.
Yeah.
She gets put in the middle of Times Square in a big giant case, like
A bag.
a duffel bag.
Yeah.
But what's happening is they've given her a drug where she doesn't have any memory of who she is and why she's there.
And she climbs out in the beginning of the show.
Yeah.
She climbs out of this. It's
With
it's
tons
like
of
very
tattoos all over her,
dramatic,
yeah.
and she's covered in tattoos.
And the tattoos are like leading, and it's got Kurt Weller on the back of it.
Yeah, on her back, like the center of her back,
FBI
says
Kurt
Weller,
Weller. 'cause he's an
FBI.
FBI
So
guy.
they go find Kurt Weller, FBI, and be like, "What's the deal?"
What's this?
And
then
he's
they-
played by Sullivan.
Yeah, it's Sullivan Stapleton. Well, he's the guy that was also in the second version of 300, which was great. He was great in that. But the tattoos lead them to like a lot of criminals, people doing bad things. And the great part about it is she still. The interesting part about it, she doesn't know who she is. She has no idea. But then Kurt Weller realizes she's a person from his childhood, and she got supposedly kidnapped, and they think the father did it. So I won't tell you any more than that, because you have to see it before you understand it, which is really great. It's a really great show because it's about, finding out who you are. It's about they stop criminals and that kind of stuff. I mean, I like shows like that.
Yeah, it sounds really good.
Yeah, it is a really good show.
So, and the one of my favorite characters in it is the Patterson. She's
Yeah.
like the analyst,
And
and
she
she's
was
played
in-
by Ashley Johnson from
Yep.
Growing Pains, I
Yep,
think,
from
right?
Growing Pains, yeah.
And I remember when I first saw her, I'm like, I know her. She was in something when she was really young. But one of the things we were talking about today actually reminded me of a scene in the show where, do you
Yes.
remember she's her? It's a little bit of a spoiler.
No,
but her
but-
boy,
but
her boy her boyfriend gets killed. And there's a scene where she's on their anniversary. She gets a call from a restaurant saying that there was a reservation and confirming it, and he'd made the reservation before he'd passed. Anyway, so she goes and her therapist recommends she go ahead and go on the dinner, and she's seeing him, and there's a whole bunch of stuff happens. But what it made me realize was there's a little interchange where she's seeing him and she's talking to him. He's not there, right? He's a ghost, or he's a visualization, I guess. He's a visualization. Yeah. But there's a thing where she talks to him and he goes, well, I don't know. I'm just a rendering of your subconscious. If you don't know, then I don't know. And it was sort of making me think of what you're talking about, where you go back and you reheal. It's like they're being all played by you, but you interact with them. Anyway, it's kind of a fun little...
Yeah, but I think people will really enjoy it. It's a fun show. It's an older show, but and you're going to always tell, too, in older shows that how things were shot a little differently.
This one doesn't feel that like Dexter did. Remember how I was like, Dexter, you can
because Dexter was a long time ago.
Is this one just as not?
Yes, this is not as long ago. Well, there's some shows that don't even fit your TV. You watch some shows and you're like, hey,
yeah.
So that was shot not even in 1080. That was shot really small.
Yeah. So each of her tattoos reveals another thing, and that's kind of what you are untangling.
It's like a map.
Yes.
Oh yeah, it's kind of a map. It is kind of a map, but we don't know why they're doing this. You still don't have any idea why somebody put her in that position.
Are we still in the first season?
Yeah, we haven't even.
Okay, that's what it is, because it's also old, because it was back when seasons had a lot of episodes.
Well, seasons had 26 shows.
Yes.
I mean, it was like when I started in TV, the network bought 26 shows off the bat. Now they do 8. See if the show does well. If it does okay, then they got 8 more like that. It's such a nightmare to have to wait for all that to be done. You know what I mean? So and you get shows will debut and then you don't see it for a year and 2 years. Then they come back and you're like, oh, we're waiting for the show Wednesday on Netflix for 2 years. Man, just come on.
I love
get
that
the show out. So.
Well, dang.
Thank you so much for being here. I'm Todd Bridges. Please like and subscribe. Bye. Dang is produced by my wife, Bettijo Bridges, in collaboration with Star Worldwide Network Studios, and edited by our daughter, Adelie Ann.
She's also the musician responsible for our theme music, so go check out Adelie Ann wherever you stream your music. Have a question or topic you want us to cover? Send us your suggestions at dangpodcast.com.
Do me a favor. Please subscribe and rate our podcast to make it easier for others to find. Have a great week.
Yeah,